Good morning, white galactic mirror. A day late, so we're actually in the solar storm, but doesn't matter. I did not get around to making a show yesterday, so I shall do a shorty now and post it. I really do want to have every day in this collection for whatever reason. I don't even know why, and I don't need to. It's fine. It's my joy. It's my dance. It's wonderful. Yesterday, let me not get confused. There's no point talking about the now energies, such as it being a root chakra day. Sundays are always root chakra days, according to this system. So yesterday we harmonized model integrity and let's reflect order. Harmonize model integrity. There are devices lying in this house. I can't turn this phone off right now. It's not mine. We'll have to just bear with it. We've had the wave spell of the white mirror, just the last one. We have it also running beneath us, in the unseen, in the occult. And we are reminded of that. Are we in integrity with our own development? Are we in integrity with where we've come from? Are we in integrity with where we're going? Are we seeing that life is reflecting us in every way that it knows how, that it answers us through similarity or polarity? Can we recognize it? Can we appreciate it? Can we work with it? Can we live with it? Can we be with it? Can we be with ourselves and our own polarities? Can we harmonize ourselves and still be at peace with the not yet harmonized? Can we have faith and belief in harmonization in time if it takes a little longer? Speaking to anyone who enjoys the suffering of impatience, my hand goes up, but it's not so bad with me. It's not so bad. Impatience is a real bummer. Spiritual impatience, because it can really actually do the opposite of what we want. It can really hold us back. Are we playing? Is the game we're playing on earth in its own integrity? Are we in integrity? Is what we say what we mean? Is what we do in accordance with who we are? Are we in alignment? And if we are not and we cannot change it yet, can we find peace with that? Can we allow others to be who they are and drop the need to change them and give up the responsibility that others carry a responsibility for our well-being? And can we give up the responsibility of being responsible for others' well-being? Yes, we are here together. Yes, we influence each other. But every person is like living in their own house. And the amount of time you spend in their house and the kinds of things that you get to do in their house are up to them. That's the analogy. Are we peaceful? Are we enjoying life? Are we thrilled? Who is the guide yesterday? Sometimes it's really nice to reflect on a day that just passed. Wind, galactic wind, or just the wind in general. So spirit, breathing, breath. In my case, yesterday was completely obvious. Very windy out there, very windy, cold winds, warm sun, blue skies, cold wind, cold air. Starting to notice what excessive cold does in my body. I think I'm a bit of an extremist. I run fire very hot. Maybe it's all a question of interpretation. I notice I'm cold in my body a lot. Not shivering, just cold, not comfortable. And we don't heat much and the air is cold. And then I don't dress enough and, it's fine. I don't get a cold from it, as I would if I continued telling myself, you're going to get a cold, get dressed warm. I tell myself, hey, can't be so soft washed. Our ancestors, they just withstood the weather. It wasn't about comfort zoning yourself. But then again, they also moved a whole lot more and activated the body's own fire and heating systems. They didn't spend an hour sitting somewhere making a podcast or a monocast or whatever this is. So I get to choose the story I tell myself about this cold. I could say, okay, this cold body is the balance to my fire. Now the next story pops in, and that's conditioning. Excuse me, it's not, I don't know, I think it's conditioning. It's not an original thought. Conditioning, the answer says like, oh yeah, but if you're going extreme hot, extreme cold, you're swinging the pendulum, like in your emotional landscape occasionally, too far, too hard into the extremes. And it's not good. And I'm sitting here listening to this thinking, is that true? And then another answer says, well, if you believe it, it becomes true. So I'm like, do I want to believe that? Is that good for me? And I can choose. It's like, if I believe that, I will take more care to keep myself warm. There's another part of me that says, yeah, but then you become soft. Then any little bit of I'm cold and ooh, I need to be warm. No, man up. Just handle the cold. I prefer that. So, but how do I navigate, what story do I tell myself that really serves me? Oof. I could say, okay, this dance between warm and cold is, well, whatever. I can do that on my own. But you get the drift. It's like you can really reshape your paradigms, reshape your thinking, and it's a training. It may not work immediately. It may take a bunch of runs to get this thing flowing to the degree that, because it also requires the belief that what I believe becomes my truth. If I believe empirically there are facts, it's got nothing to do, I can believe what I want, that's just BS. The fact is, when your feet are cold, you get a cold. I don't know, whatever your facts may be. Then I can believe all I want, something else is not going to wash. If we believe that, that's going to be our experience truth. And a white mirror, life and people will reflect that back to us. I believe a universal truth is all possibilities are reflected back to us, but our beliefs act like filter systems, and then we filter out affirmations of our beliefs. And we may see 100 people in one day, but we only notice the one with the cold. and who tells us, oh man, I was shivering my ass off yesterday, so today look where I am. Or the one who says, I'm so cold, tomorrow I'm going to be in bed, and boom, they are. La 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 la. So we filter according to ourselves. We shape our experience of reality according to our filters, and we can change those if we wish to, or just acknowledge where they're great. We have, hello, a beautiful, we have the blue night again. We had it on the warrior before, and we have the star here, and in the antipodal position, and the dragon. So the mirror, we've had a whole wave. It's like this nurturing and the abundance. The blue night serves us. It's the support of abundance, of all possibilities that are open to us. And here we go again. According to your belief, it is done unto you. That field of abundant possibility is infinite, and it holds everything. As Abraham Hicks calls it, this escrow. It holds the possibility, and it holds our lined up creations. Ask and it is given, and it is immediately given, and it is placed in escrow, and then it waits until we're ready to receive it, to let it in. But it's there. And that's a blue night. And the dragon is the nurturance. And according, I wasn't finished with the blue night, Tatiana. According to our belief, what we believe is possible. It's very easy to believe, I cannot ever have such a love. I cannot ever have such support. I cannot ever be a part of such a community. I cannot ever be that beautiful. Or I cannot ever be accepted for the way I am, or look, or smell, or speak, or whatever, we have these limitations somewhere of what we believe isn't possible for us. And if it's stuff we don't care about, like in this lifetime and in this body, I can't say fully that I cannot ever become male, because I don't know what's in the future and how we change our DNA, that we can, out of our own volition, transform our own bodies. I'm not talking about operations. Done. No. Maybe in the very far future, somewhere, that's possible. But strictly speaking, I have no need to believe that, because I don't want to be male. If I want to be male, I'll die and become a boy. But I come back as a boy. But either way, yes, that way I will be male. But in this body, this Tatiana, to turn her into a man, I don't know. I wanted to make it something that an example of something I don't believe, but yeah, I'm discovering, but I fully believe I will never be made out of glass. Okay, just ignore the fact that why would I want that? But the fact that I believe I can't, if I wanted that, the fact that I believe that I can't have that, or if I believed it could be a good thing, and the fact that I believe I cannot be that, is going to cause a little bit of disturbance in my system, which will affect my body. If it's important to me, I should treat, and I can't believe that I can have it, I should really work with that, because I need to be in a place of either train myself that I can't believe I can, or find out what is it that I really want. If I want to be beautiful and I feel that I'm not, why do I want to be beautiful? What's the meaning of it? What's attached to it? In this society, that's like wanting to be beautiful is like a sickness. Why on earth would it matter? Wanting to be interesting or different or pleasing to the eye of others, like, oh, that the eyes go big. I look at That's a different story, because that's joy. We're sparking joy. I want you to feel joy when you look at me. So if I paint my face, I look at African tribal cultures where they don't have any mirrors, but they paint themselves. So it may be about who's the greatest artist here or whatever, but why do I paint myself if I don't get to see it? It's that others are like, oh my gosh, look at you, that's a beautiful pattern. Oh wow, look at that one, that's another beautiful pattern. I also have a pattern, and others look at me like, oh wow, your pattern is also interesting. Or whatever, it's just a beautiful thing to do. But to have this, I need to up my self-worth through how I look, which means others are determining my self-worth, because the way I look, I don't see it. So, something worth looking at. But I want to get back to the point. If we believe we can't have it, we can look at why we believe that. Can we really not have it? If we believe being blonde is beautiful, but I'm brunette, so I can never be blonde. Okay, I can dye my hair. Maybe I believe I shouldn't, or I can't, or I don't want to, whatever. So maybe it makes me unhappy. And I can ask myself, why do I believe? Where have I learned that blonde is more valuable than brown? Where have I learned that my worth is dependent on my hair color, or anything like that? Because why on earth would I want to change my hair color? Except for fun. You know what I mean? Not for self-worth. I can change my hair color any color. It's fun. It's cool. It's nice to do if one likes that kind of thing. Yeah. So, but then we believe we are not having this abundance available to us, this blue night that we can pick and choose from, and that we can. And the dragon on the mirror is like, yes, you can. I am the archetype that helps you birth yourself. So if you want to be more beautiful, you end up believing, yeah, I don't want that because I don't need that because of others' approval. I want that because I want to feel better. It would make me feel better about myself. So let's just cut all the in-betweens and say, okay, you want to feel better about yourself. Well, feel better about yourself already. But I can't. Why? Because it's contingent upon my looks. And then you realize, there's your disempowerment. If your feelings are contingent upon the way you look or how you feel about yourself, you gotta look at that. I think stuff like that is like, I feel better when I have this. I am fulfilled when X. That's us probably ending up chasing that carrot for life. And maybe that's what we've chosen to do. Maybe that's the game we like to play, because it keeps us running. It keeps us wanting to achieve something. It keeps us going somewhere. All good. Everything is fine if we are in alignment with ourselves. And in that alignment, we're not going to want anything that's going to hurt another. I don't believe that's possible. And I have to make a caveat, because, okay, if the lion eats the gazelle, does he hurt the gazelle? But he doesn't sit there and think, I want to hurt the gazelle. That's what I meant. That maybe the gazelle gets hurt in the process. And probably she doesn't, because then after that, the adrenaline from the chase and then the kill releases chemistry in the body of the gazelle. The gazelle doesn't feel any pain. And then it's just light out. There's no problem there. Nothing happens there that's suffering. There's no suffering there. Quite unlike people who shoot animals and then leave them to bleed out, or cut off their tusks, or tusks are not, I don't know if it, or their horns, like in the case of rhinos. Horrible practice. That to me, I don't believe in a death sentence, but I think people who cut off horns of rhinos should have a limb cut off and be left to bleed out. No forgiveness. Hardcore. That's like, who does a thing like that? You forfeit your right to live on this planet when you torture, when people who torture other humans also. You forfeit your right to live here. But, I mean, who am I to say that? I could give it a whole different slant, but I'm not right about that thing, but I just feel that's just, like, the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck are you doing here? You get one chance to realize you're totally fucked up, and then you gotta choose life or death. And if you choose life, you choose rehabilitation, not prison. What is this prison bullshit? God, prisons are like labor camps. They're not for rehabilitation. It's put them away. They're just like, no, man. There's some weird ass thing. We gotta heal those people who sit in there, because if you steal, if you murder, if you get up to all kinds of whatever stuff, I mean, half the crimes aren't crimes. They're just something someone thought of and then decide to punish you for it. It's not a crime. But there are some things that are transgressions against, they transgress against natural law. And then you ought to realize, why do you do that? Why do you have a need to do that? And in my books, the prisons are a reflection, white mirror of the society. We are so, I can go real crass and say we're very, very lost in the Western society. Very, very lost. We have people sleeping in the street. We have people, we have leaders who are completely misguiding us on a lot of fronts: religious, spiritual, political, medical, whatever. You know, we have a lot of misguidance. And anyway, we are a collective of followers, always called sheep. There's nothing wrong with sheep, but even sheep ought to have some sense of, like, what's hurting me or what shouldn't be happening. I mean, there should be an instinct like, oh, this is leading us to our certain, like, demise. Why are we following? A sheep has to somehow have a sense of who it should follow. We can't all be leaders, and we have got stuff to get on with, so we gotta trust the governments, we gotta trust the people in positions of responsibility that they're doing this stuff right. You know, we can't all take the time to learn where to place our own acupuncture needles or how to massage ourselves or God knows what. You got other things to do. But we got to be able to trust the people who we turn to for help when our systems are starting to show up something. I don't have time to fix my own car. I don't want to learn to fix my car, but I have to trust my mechanic. You know, if he just breaks another thing, fixes the one, and makes sure in 3 weeks or 3 months I return with something else, and he could do that, then how's that? That is not integrity at all. That's just sad. And then it's a reflection of the collective too. It's not just one individual who's acting weirdly. And we're living in a time where a lot of weirdness is happening on the planet, and we all ought to ask ourselves, what does this have to do with us? What does it say about us? How are we not a part of that? How are we not warring inside ourselves? How are we not condemning aspects of ourselves? How are we not wishing this weren't so about ourselves and fighting it with violence? Why am I giving myself those kinds of lips and that kind of ass? Why am I fighting myself? Why am I overworking myself? Why am I undernourishing myself? Stuff like that. So why am I putting parts of myself in solitary confinement? Why am I torturing parts of myself? Why am I torturing myself? Why can't I sleep? Met a man the other day. He just struggled with his sleep. I'm like, yeah, what is in you? Either you shouldn't struggle, because if you naturally wake up in the middle of the night and then you're awake, well, get up and do something. That's your natural rhythm. Don't struggle just because someone else tells you, oh, to sleep for 8 hours at a stretch. And if it's like, no, but and that's kind of his case, but if it's like, no, I'm super, super tired, I just can't fall asleep. And he was complaining about his mind just going rampant. His thoughts, his mind just creating all kinds of, and any unfinished business at work, he took it home and took it into the night and took it into his sleep and just overdrive. Yeah. And then when you're in that state, it's easy to say, just stop thinking, just turn it off. But he can't. So how is it that we do not have jurisdiction over aspects of ourselves? We are at their mercy. We become slaves to our own minds. Well, and he was a bit disillusioned with all the things he'd already tried to help himself, which had been predominantly Western medicine. Like, nah, you're not going to find your answers there. But even in the other field, you're going to find a lot of people who are just going to try to sell you something because they can make money out of it. And then we spoke about the intuition, how to be guided toward the help that really helps. When you really want help, you're going to be guided. But then maybe we are guided, but can we even accept it? I said to him, chances are there's something you're not wanting to feel underneath. And if any technique would help you to turn off that monkey mind, it wouldn't work, because you would have to face something, unless they're actually, the technique or the person or whatever helps you to face what comes up when your mind gets quiet. If you can take yourself through that journey alone or with help, then it can be successful. If not, it's not going to be successful. And the harmony, yellow star, which is the antipode to the white mirror. Yeah, sometimes it looks disharmonious from up close, but there's a harmony from a distance. And the system of this man was keeping itself in harmony by believing I shouldn't feel certain things. I ought to finish every job. I ought to have every solution and find it now. I can't wait till tomorrow. I can't sleep at peace if I haven't found the solution today. I cannot tell myself I'll find it tomorrow. And then other people, and he reflected that, then he meets people in work who are like slave drivers, who want him to work all the time. He's just taken a 10-hour drive from home to a place where he's going to start a project. And in the evening when he arrives, someone still says, are you coming into the office? And he's like, hell no. And I'm like, wow, that's such a reflection of the slave driver in you. Of this, I call it the perfectionist, or call it whatever, but it's like that's, and then you can very easily take an external voice like that to add on to your own inner slave driver, and in the guilt, oh, should I, and no. And maybe in this case, he's very clear. Like, no, I'm not going, this is ridiculous, I don't have to, I'm not going to. Good for him. But in another case, he may not succeed. He may not recognize the unreasonable request, because he's giving the unreasonable request to himself. I have to find a solution, and I have to find it today. The problem is here today, it has to be found now. And I kind of recognize that because he mirrored me a little bit too. And when I deal with my internal problems, I sometimes also have a question, I want an answer now. I have a request, I have a system update that I request, or a reprogramming that I do. I want to see the result the next day. And then I don't, and then I think it didn't work. Often not very consciously. Often I kind of sneaked up on myself one day unawares and realized, hey, wait, what are you expecting here? you're not giving this thing time to change. And it might take years. Hello. One night's programming and you think the next day you're sorted. Who taught you? Or who neglected to teach you how these things work? Well, eventually we teach ourselves. So yeah, that's white mirror for me. Yeah, so from up close it might look disharmonious. From a distance, his system, in this case I make an example of him, is keeping itself in balance. Because it believes, for example, whatever it believes is going to be imbalanced. But it doesn't realize that it's creating a bigger imbalance. Because it's not allowing itself natural balance. And natural balance can only be found in the now, by the way. And can only be addressed in the now. And an amazing life can only be lived now. This moment. Not in the future. Other amazing nows are coming, but if we can't enjoy the now, it doesn't have to be an ecstasy party all the time, all the way, no, but obviously it's so rhythmic, it comes and goes, but quintessentially, if we spend too much time not enjoying whatever is, well, then that's how it's going to remain, I guess. But we pay attention to, we add more of it to ourselves. Okay, no, not going there. Stopping this now. Oh, half an hour. Okay. Yeah. I can't really wish us a good day, but if you listen to it any other day, I still wish you a good day. So if anybody listened to it any other day, yeah, of course I can still wish us a good day, because why am I doing this? Oh, this is very funny. Lol. So have a beautiful day. It's probably not a white mirror day, but it doesn't matter, because it's always a day to reflect on the magic of life, the rules of life, the combination, the magical rules of life. Not to see the rules of life as a hindrance, but as a support. And yeah, have a good day. I hope.